Breaking right now, Suella Braverman has become the most senior British politician to weigh in on Prince Harry's ongoing immigration battle with the US government over whether he should be deported for illegal drug use, which he admitted in Spare. So Niall Gardner from the Heritage Foundation, who has very much been driving this case, posted on X, Prince Harry visa case to have first court hearing under Donald Trump after Duke's drug admission. And Suella added, the law should apply without fear or favour and equally to everyone, including Prince Harry. There is a compelling public interest in disclosing these documents. Cover-ups erode trust. Transparency builds it. Heritage is right to be fighting for the American people. And we know that Donald Trump has certainly shown no mercy when it comes to deporting illegals. The question is, will he do it with Prince Harry, someone who he certainly doesn't like, and definitely doesn't like Meghan Markle, given the sensitivities that it would cause for the British royal family? Suella was asked about this by Niall Gardner in a bombshell interview in Washington, D.C. Father Calvin Robinson, this is big, isn't it? Suella Braverman, a former Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, she's a MAGA supporter. She was in Washington, D.C. for Trump's inauguration, as were you. And the thing is, it doesn't take much, does it, for Trump to be annoyed when it comes to Harry and Meghan? Will they really be able to keep their mouths shut for much longer? Should the Prince, the Duke of Duplicity, be worried?
He should be worried, yeah, absolutely. Because either he lied on his entry form into the United States or he lied in his book. Either way, he's a liar. It's not a good thing. I don't agree with Suella entirely. I think he can have special treatment because he is a member of the royal family. But then I think the authorities who let him in should be clear and transparent and say, yes, he received special treatment if he did. But I don't think he did. I think he probably just lied on his forms and said, no, I never did any illegal activities, I never took any drugs, etc. And so that will be an issue. And if he lied on his forms, then he's broken the law. And anyone in America that's broken the law from another country needs to get deported to that country. That's Donald Trump's policy. And so, yes, the president should, in fact, deport Prince Harry if he has done that.
All right, folks, let's get straight into this. Prince Harry might be in serious trouble, and the Biden administration doesn't want you to know about it. The big question here is simple. Did Harry lie on his U.S. visa application? Because if he did, he could be looking at deportation under U.S. immigration law. And now, the pressure is building from all sides, including former UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman and even Donald Trump himself. Now let's break this down. Harry openly admitted in his memoir, Spare, that he used cocaine, marijuana, and psychedelic drugs. That's not a rumor, that's his own words. And let's be clear, U.S. immigration law is very strict about this. If you admit to illegal drug use, your visa application is almost always denied. The fact that Harry is still in the U.S. raises some serious questions. And now we have the Heritage Foundation, a leading conservative think tank, taking this fight to court. They are demanding that the U.S. government release Harry's visa application so the American people can see whether he was given special treatment.
And yes, it's significant that Suella is the one speaking out on this as well. As a former Home Secretary, and you're quite right, she is the most senior British politician to take part in this conversation. It's quite, I think she's kind of laying her flag in the ground. She's saying, I want to be a leader of the Conservative Party and or a senior figure in British politics again. These interviews with the Heritage Foundation are fantastic, but what is her game here? It's interesting. I'd love to see what's going to happen next.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, I do think one of the ironies about this whole situation, Father Calvin, though, is that Trump is such a supporter of the British royal family. He has so much respect for King Charles. He has even more respect for Prince William. And isn't the issue that he will be worried about creating a headache for them? Because let's be honest, Calvin, as it stands, Charles and William do not want Harry back at all.
No, nobody wants Harry. Kind of feel a bit bad for Harry. Nobody wants him. The US don't want him. We Brits don't want him. He's kind of stuck in limbo. But all he has to do is kind of keep his head down for a while and do some real work and stop all this media hogging and kind of him and his wife trying to get attention while saying they don't want any attention and all that. Just stop it. Just go quiet for a bit and do some hard work, and then all will be forgiven and forgotten.
I mean, the thing is, they chose the exact wrong time to go full woke, Harry and Meghan, didn't they? Because just as they've done that, the whole world has said no thanks. And now they're left in a position, Father Calvin, where they have absolutely zero power because they are even toxic to the Democrats.
Yeah, what's interesting about this is that people are backtracking. So we saw Mark Zuckerberg, for example, was at the inauguration, a man who silenced most of us throughout COVID, who was very heavy-handed on the Hunter Biden laptop story. You know, he was authoritarian for the Democrats. And now that the Republicans are in power, he's suddenly changed his tune. And this we see this with a lot of celebrities that they're backtracking. And so on one hand, people who've always been kind of sound are able to be more vocal, and on the other hand, the people who were a bit wet are being less vocal. So this could be an advantage for Harry, actually, because it's mostly Meghan Markle that is the vapid woke one. He could separate himself from her image and say, you know what, actually, I agree with what these guys are saying. I believe in free speech and I believe in common sense values and Christian values. He could come out as ordinary and win people back over by distancing himself a bit from his wife's horrible branding.
And let's be real. Does anyone really believe Harry would have been approved if he were just some regular guys? No chance. This is where things get really infuriating. The United States has denied visas to countless people for far less than what Harry admitted to in his own book. The rules say that if you've used illegal drugs, your application is almost certainly rejected, or at the very least you have to go through major legal hurdles to get approved. Let's talk about some real-life cases. British chef Nigella Lawson admitted to using cocaine once and was banned from entering the US for years. Canadian singer Boy George had visa issues because of his past drug use. And yet Prince Harry, who wrote an entire chapter about his drug use, somehow gets in without a problem? Make it make sense. If the law applies to everyone else, why does Harry get a free pass? This isn't about whether you like or dislike the guy. It's about equal application of the law. If you or I tried to move to America and admitted to taking illegal drugs, we'd be on the next flight back. But because Harry's a prince, we're supposed to look the other way? No way.
I mean, you're so right. He absolutely could, because it's worked with Zuckerberg, right? Quick makeover, be a bit of a bro again. And all of a sudden, we're forgetting the fact that he was actually one of the most malignant forces over the COVID pandemic. Certainly, I was censored on Facebook all the time, even just for saying that I believed that COVID was a lab leak. And I was saying that, by the way, right back in March, April 2020. But Zuckerberg has done that because, let's be honest, Zuckerberg has a brain and he knows where the balance of power is. And Harry doesn't. He really doesn't. And remember, this is a guy, Father Calvin, who is not an American citizen, who, as a member of the British royal family, should be incredibly careful about the very fine line in terms of diplomacy, given the history between the United States of America and the United Kingdom. But instead, what has he done, Calvin? He said, I don't really believe in your First Amendment rights. And people just say, piss off, because you just want to shut down a free press for your own selfish reasons. You don't know anything about free press. And remember, Calvin, he's linked in with all of the big globalist organizations, the World Health Organization when it comes to vaccines, United Nations when it comes to the military and globalism. And of course, the big one, the Aspen Institute, when it comes to quite literally attempting to censor social media. So while I agree, actually, I think people would so be desperate for Harry to sort of find his inner bro. Because actually, the irony is, he would have loved the MAGA movement, right? That's actually the type of guy he was. But he has become cucked and controlled by Meghan Markle to the point where I think he can't actually think for himself.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I don't think it would take much. Just sitting down with Joe Rogan for a couple of hours,
Yes, oh my
put that
goodness.
podcast out.
What an idea. Get him, he'd love the cage fighting, wouldn't he?
Exactly. He used to be a lad. That's the word that people used to use to describe him. It's so sad that we've lost that. But I honestly think he could get it back in no time. If someone as wicked as Mark Zuckerberg can be kind of forgiven and have a rebranding, why can't Prince Harry? But of course, he still has that massive weight pulling him down, which is his wife, Meghan Markle. She's not good for him. She's not good for the country. Not good for any of us, really.
Here's where things get even more suspicious. The Biden administration is actively blocking efforts to release Harry's visa records. Why? What are they hiding? If everything was done legally, then why not just release the documents and clear this up? Instead, they're stonewalling the Heritage Foundation's lawsuit and refusing to be transparent with the American people. I think we all know what's happening here. Harry and Meghan have become the poster couple for woke elitism. They've cozied up to Hollywood's biggest left-wing activists. They've been embraced by the liberal media, and let's not forget, they were even invited to the White House. So of course, the Biden administration is going to protect them. They're part of the club. And folks, this isn't just about Harry, it's about the system. When regular Americans are deported over minor infractions, but elites like Prince Harry are protected, it shows you just how rigged the game is. The laws aren't the problem. It's the fact that they're not being enforced equally.
No, I know. I know, but at the end of the day, I think Prince Harry should be worried because can he keep his mouth shut over the course of a 4-year presidency? Can he keep his wife's mouth shut over the course of a 4-year presidency? I don't think so. And I'm just going to be honest. I think he did lie on the immigration documents because he would have been utterly ridiculous, Calvin, to say, oh yeah, by the way, I took magic mushrooms at Courtney Cox's house and I'm a big cocaine user. I mean, no lawyer would tell him to do that. So I think when the documents emerge, he's going to be in deep, deep trouble because either, Calvin, he can say, okay, yeah, I did lie on the documents, or he has to say, I lied in my book. And to be honest, I've always said that Spare is a work of fiction, but he wouldn't want to do that, would he?
Oh, I remember that awful book. I remember we had to read it, didn't we, when it first came? Oh,
I
God.
think I forced you to do that.
You did. It was you. Thanks, Dan.
I'm
I'll
sorry
never get
about
that
that.
time back. But he does have to be careful what he says over the next 4 years, especially if he's saying things like he doesn't believe in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
This is a constitutional republic, constitutional democracy. The people in this country love their constitution. It's the very foundation of their nation, especially the First and Second Amendments. So to be disparaging them at any point is going to be incredibly damaging, not just to his reputation, but to his stance in this country. So let's see what he says with that.
We know Trump doesn't like Meghan Markle. He's called her nasty in the past and has made it clear he has zero respect for what she and Harry have done to the royal family. So would he take action? Trump has never been afraid to go after high-profile figures when it comes to enforcing U.S. laws. And let's be real, he'd love nothing more than to send a message that America isn't going to bend the rules for elites like Harry. If the records show that Harry lied on his visa application, Trump could absolutely push for deportation proceedings. And honestly, he'd be 100% right to do it. We have senior politicians in both the US and the UK saying that this case needs full transparency. If Harry broke the rules, then he should face the consequences, just like everyone else. And if Trump is back in the White House, we might just see justice served. No one should be above the law. Prince Harry openly admitted to illegal drug use, yet he was given a free pass while regular people are deported over far less. The Biden administration is covering for him. But if Trump wins in 2024, that could all change. This isn't about being anti-Harry. It's about holding elites accountable the same way everyday Americans are. The law is the law. And if Harry broke it, then he needs to face the consequences. No exceptions. Should Trump deport Harry from the U.S.? Let me know your thoughts in the comment below.